Organization is going to be alphabetically. There are no numbers at the beginning of entries. There's no stars. There's no dots. There's no happy faces. There's no indication at the beginning of an entry other than the spacing, and we'll see an example of that in a minute. In an individual entry, what you'll do is you'll indent all the lines that follow the first. So that means if you have a works cited entry that goes on for, let's say, 3 lines, that means that the first line of that works cited entry will be flush with the 1-inch margin, and the preceding, or the following 2 lines will be indented. It's called a hanging indent. Again, check Little Brown Handbook section 46B for the specific formatting of each type of entry. 46B goes through the list of all the different kinds of sources that are out there, electronic and print. And this goes back to the works cited page is easy. The only piece of work that you, the student, have to even worry about is all you have to do is figure out what kind of source are you using. Once you've done that, then you're good to go. You can turn to section 46B, and there's an index that has every type of source. You just find the listing for the type of source you have and turn to the right page, and voila, there is the blueprint for what your works cited page, what your works cited entry will look like. I'll give you an example. A lot of times in literature classes or composition classes, we use a source called an anthology. Well, sure enough, if you look at section 46B in the index, there is a citation listing for how to cite a work from an anthology. So that's going to be a popular one you'll come back to in your college career. So all the information that we've gone over in this video is covered much more in depth in your Little Brown Handbook. For in-text citation, it's going to be 46A. For the works cited page, which you'll just have to look at, I mean, there's no way you could really memorize the format for every entry, but why would you? I mean, you have the book. It's easy to find the information. Just keep in mind the only thing you have to do is figure out what kind of source do I have, and then look it up. And you can look it up in section 46B. Now that's the end of the slideshow, but I want to just go over a few things that are common problems with students. So we went through the basic document here. Go ahead and tell you that MLA style, students who violate MLA style, a lot of times they'll do so just to kind of get length. Many teachers will assign not necessarily a word count, but they'll assign a page length paper. I usually do the same thing. And some students think, oh, well, I can just do a little bit of trickery and make the paper look longer than it really is. Keep in mind that if you follow MLA style, it's very, very specific on what the margins look like, what the font size is, what the spacing is, what the heading looks like, everything like that. So here's an example. Let's say that the teacher has assigned me a 4-page paper. And so here I've got, let's say, oh, well, it looks like it's almost 4 pages. Looks like a few more lines and I'll be done. But one thing that I've done here is I've done a little bit of manipulation of the document. This is not an MLA style document. Notice that the heading is way too long. Probably don't need to give my sign in my favorite color. So let's get rid of that information. Notice that I've got all kinds of spacing. Well, keep in mind that with MLA style, every single line is going to be double spaced. There's no quadruple spacing. There's no single spacing. Everything is going to be double spaced. So we need to get rid of this extra space because it's not doing anything but cheating length. Now notice that the heading here is pretty long, and that's fine. You can have a heading that is it's a good 1/4 of the page, I'd say, and that's fine. That's expected. Something that you may not notice here is in between paragraphs we have something that we need to change, and this sometimes is accidental, especially on the newest version of Word. So I'm going to highlight this whole document, and while I'm doing this, notice, let's check our margins because we should have 1-inch margins. I don't think we do. Nope, we don't. We've got 1.25 on the left and right. It may seem like not much, but it is. Look how it changes. Let's go back and see what our length looks like now. Ooh, our fourth page went away quite a bit. We're still not done though. There's still a problem here. What's happened is I've got an extra space in between paragraphs that I need to go in and get rid of. And this is going to be important for you to do. Like I said, this can be accidental. Some students don't realize that you have to go back and change this preference. What you want to do is you want to go to page layout, and notice over here in the spacing category I've got before 0. That's good, that's what I want. After's the problem. What it is this is putting in an extra space anytime you push the enter key. So we need to put this 10 to 0. And that actually does make a few lines of difference. Now let's see what our length looks like. Oh, we lost our fourth page completely. Now we're just at 3 pages. And we're still not done. Here's a couple more tricks that I'm aware of and your other teachers are aware of. The font for MLA is Times New Roman. That does make a difference. And the length. And also notice that the font size, 12.5, 0.5 actually does make a difference as well. It should be 12. So now let's see what we have. Okay, we don't even have a full 3 pages. So notice we lost more than a page just through getting this document to look like MLA form. Okay, so please don't cheat length by manipulating MLA form. Keep in mind that not only will you get in trouble for the length, but also the MLA style would have to be violated to make these tricks happen. Okay? The last thing I want to show you is a very good resource that's available to you if you don't feel like cracking open that little brown handbook. It's a website through Purdue University. It's their online writing lab. Here's how I find it. I just go to Google and type in OWL. It's the first result. And this is great because here they have MLA formatting. They've got avoiding plagiarism, which you'll have a few worksheets to help you with that, but they have some here too. So let's go to the writing lab. And let's go here to research and citation. MLA style. And if you have classes that are like a social science class that uses APA style, they got you covered here too. But we have MLA style. MLA formatting and style guide. And so here it basically goes through very clearly things to keep in mind while you're formatting your paper. It also gives you some examples. Notice here's a sample of the first page of a paper in MLA style. You've got your heading. You've got, notice that everything is double spaced, 1-inch margins. You've got your header here. And there's also, here, cite, the Purdue OWL and MLA. Okay, well this is for the website. Let's go, they also got, here we go, on the corner. Works cited. Most of the times we'll be using probably electronic sources. Or periodicals, so it'll show you how to cite that. So here are some examples of what a works cited entry could look like. Okay. So hopefully this video has gone through and given a little more information of how to properly use MLA style. Please keep in mind that all of your assignments from here on out, MLA style will be a component of your grade. As far as if your paper doesn't follow MLA style correctly, then it will affect your grade. Also keep in mind that with citation specifically, if you have errors as far as you're not citing what you need to cite, that could result in accusations of plagiarism, and that is something you definitely don't want. So you know, if you have any questions, just let me know. Otherwise, good luck and happy writing.